What stretches should I be doing? That was the question I got from one of my patients this week, and my response was none. And that's because oftentimes we feel tight or feel like we need to stretch something, not because the muscle itself is actually short or really in need of increased lengthening. It's because the body is responding to make it tight for a particular reason or make it feel tight for a particular reason. Muscles don't feel tight for the sake of feeling tight. They do it in response to some sort of stimulus. So, as an example, if we are overtraining or perhaps we are not training as effectively as we could, the body may reflexively try to protect itself by stiffening those tissues up to give an extra little layer of defense. Another reason could potentially be that the muscle just may not simply be strong enough in the way that it's being trained or being used. So as an example, there's many athletes who have to demonstrate great amounts of strength or control in end range positions. Let's imagine a baseball player in the peel back position, right when they're back here throwing a ball. That's not a position many of us get into on a day-to-day basis. But pitchers do, and they need to be really, really strong in this position because they're going to be generating and absorbing great amounts of force there. If the body feels that it is not strong, it is not stable in this position, it will try to tighten up to protect itself. So one of the things we do with many of our baseball players or other athletes, such as gymnasts or maybe weightlifters have to be overhead a great deal, is we need to work on making sure they are really, really strong in end range positions that we don't often train as much. Even if you're not a baseball player, tennis player, gymnast, or one of these athletes that require all of this mobility and strength in these end range positions, drills that emphasize increased strength through greater ranges of motion are probably something you should be working on because life is not played really close to the body. We have to be able to reach into cabinets. Maybe you're in the car and your kids are making a lot of noise behind you. You got to turn around and be able to use your limbs in these end range positions or pick low things up off the floor. Whatever it is, we want to be able to have strength through larger degrees of motion because it also gives us room for error. So what may some of these drills look like for you? Let's take an RDL, a Romanian deadlift exercise, as an example. This is a fantastic exercise that trains glute strength, hamstring strength, and also works on core strength while we're in more of this hinge position. Now, what the hamstrings have to do in this exercise is control the body descending with the weight in the hands, which requires it to create tension as it's lengthening. If the muscle is trained to be strong as it's getting longer, it's not going to get tight because when it's in these lengthened positions, it feels strong. And so people who can do an RDL with an appreciable amount of weight through a great range of motion, they're not going to complain of tight hamstrings. Another example is a split squat. A split squat is a fantastic exercise for lower body strength, but what it also forces the hip flexors to do and the quads to do is it forces them to be able to stabilize the body and generate a great amount of force, especially if you add some weight to it, while it's in that lengthened position. Again, quad hip flexor tightness is probably not going to happen if you're able to be strong in these positions. So if you're tired of stiffness or tightness that doesn't seem to be going away and is interrupting your program, contact us. We'll help you identify exactly why that's occurring and then help you modify your programming so that we solve it once and for all.